Narayan had spent 40 years in the same small classroom, his hair turning the color of the chalk he used to write on the blackboard. He was an old school teacher who loved his village and his books, but most of all, he loved the spirit of the people. Every year, as Republic Day approached, he felt a familiar hum of excitement in the air. The dusty streets were swept clean, and the sound of patriotic songs began to drift from the temple loudspeakers. On the morning of the celebration, the village was a sea of saffron, white, and green. Narayan stood on the school stage, watching everyone gather. Neighbors who rarely spoke to one another were suddenly laughing together. Men of different faiths shared sweets, and women from every corner of the village stood side by side to watch the flag unfurl. Among them was a young girl named Kavya, who held her small paper flag high with a look of pure wonder. But when the sun rose the next morning, the magic seemed to have evaporated like the morning mist. As Narayan walked to school, he saw the paper flags lying crumpled in the gutters. He watched two neighbors, who had hugged just yesterday, turn their backs on each other over a silly dispute about a property line. The unity of the tricolor had faded, replaced by the old, sharp lines of who belonged to which temple or which family name. Narayan sat under the ancient banyan tree during the lunch break, lost in thought. He felt a tug on his sleeve. It was Kavya. She wasn't carrying her flag today, and her expression was troubled. She sat on the twisted roots beside him and looked out at the village. "Narayan, sir," she whispered, "why is the love for our country only 2 days long? Why did everyone stop being friends as soon as the holiday ended?" Kavya looked at her empty hands, then up at the sky. "Yesterday, everyone felt like one big family," she continued. "But today, Mohan from the next street told me I couldn't play near his gate because our families go to different places of worship. It feels like the flag only flies when we are told to watch it, not because we want to." Her eyes were bright with a question that Narayan knew was far older than she was. Narayan sighed softly and stood up, gesturing for Kavya to follow him. They walked through the center of the village, past the marketplace where the festive banners were already being torn down. "The flag is a beautiful symbol, Kavya," Narayan said gently. "But a symbol is like a map. It shows you where you want to go, but it isn't the journey itself. Many people think patriotism is a performance we give twice a year." They passed the house of Mohan, an elderly man who was struggling to lift a heavy crate of vegetables from his cart. Several younger men walked past him, ignoring his strain because he belonged to a different community. Narayan stopped and looked at Mohan, then at the men walking away. "True love for our land isn't found in the songs we sing," Narayan whispered, "but in the way we look at our neighbors when the music stops." Narayan knelt down, so he was at eye level with Kavya. "The saffron in our flag stands for courage," he said, pointing to the setting sun. "It takes courage to be kind to someone when others are being mean. The white is for peace, which starts with a smile, and the green is for life and growth. We only grow as a nation when we realize that every person in this village is a part of us. Patriotism is a daily practice of respect." Kavya nodded slowly, the gears of her mind turning. She looked over at Mohan, who was still struggling with the last of his crates. Without being asked, she ran over to the cart. She grabbed one side of a small basket and helped him pull it toward his door. Mohan froze for a moment, then a slow, wide smile spread across his face. For a moment, the division that had been there that morning simply vanished. Narayan watched them from the shade of the tree, a small smile touching his lips. He knew that the world wouldn't change overnight, but in that small corner of the village, the tricolor was flying again, not on a pole, but in the heart of a child. "Remember, Kavya," he called out softly as she waved goodbye. "The third day of the tricolor is today, tomorrow, and every day after.